Hello guys, this is Rox, and in this video I'll show you a tier list of which weapon types I feel like are the best against each specific enemy and why. But of course you can disagree or simply use your favorite weapons, as it's a game where you should have fun and freedom to do whatever you like. First, here are the different weapon types of the game. For melees, we have three kinds of weapons: knives, rapiers and swords. The knives have two variants, but since they have the same animations, and to save your time on this one, whenever I say knives, I mean both kinjals and dirks. As for rangeds, we have plenty more options. We have the Disruptor M11, Drillshot FK7, Karpov 38, etc. First, I'll show you a tier list for non-unique weapons against different NPCs, so you will understand which weapon works best in each situation. Then I'll cover unique weapons, since their special stats can make them much stronger. We'll start with PVE and finish with PvP tier list. The goal is simple: find the most efficient weapon for each scenario, dealing damage while taking the least in return. From these tier lists, I want you to pick at least 3 weapon types: one melee weapon, one ranged weapon for shields, and one hybrid/high damage weapon for non-shields. So our first target is the shieldless NPCs. Since they don't have a shield, anything works against them. However, some weapons are more efficient than others. For melee weapons, the rapier is the best, despite having lower damage than the sword. The reason is they have more attack speed and long reach, and this detail helps you take no damage from the target while you are attacking it. This means, as long as you have stamina, from the moment you start attacking the target, you will not have time to shoot back at you. Even if it dodges, you will instantly catch him. Easily S tier. While even if you are using the sword, even if you keep hitting them non-stop, as you can see, they will have room to shoot at you, and during a fight you want to take the least damage as possible. However, Zords can attack multiple targets at the same time thanks to its animation, and Zords also excel when you need to land heavy strikes on staggered targets, as they are better than the knives and the rapier because they have more damage. So Zords are also S tiers. Now for the knives, they have a fast attack speed like the rapier. However, due to being short blades, they don't have the reach that rapiers have. But since they are melee weapons and melee weapons are broken in this game, I'll put them in the bottom of S tier. As for the best ranged, the weapons with the highest raw damage are more efficient against targets without shield, as they receive direct damage. GRDA 44 excel here as they are the highest DPS weapon in the game, and on top of that they also stagger the targets. So this one easily an S tier. The missile launcher has very high damage and nobody likes to get blasted in the face with a missile, so this one is also clearly an S tier. The Karpovs 38 are also an S tier, as is the classic machine gun. The sub-nose is a hard weapon to use, but extremely efficient, and they deal high amounts of damage, easily an S tier. Sniper rifles with high raw damage also are S tier, as they deal a lot of damage. And las guns work extremely well against targets without shield. Also guys, obviously you have to respect the weapon's distances for efficiency, as you are not gonna try to shoot an NPC or a player who is like 100 meters away from you with a shotgun. Now for the top of the A tier, we have the speed dart rifles, as they have very decent raw damage and also apply poison on it, which also helps as it even finishes off targets when they are downed most of the times. Then we have our classic Maula pistol, our first ranged weapon. This weapon is pretty solid, but it doesn't excel on anything. The plasma cannon is also a very good A tier weapon against non-shielded targets, but I didn't put it in S tier because it uses power as ammo like the last guns, but deals less damage, so it means you'll put yourself at risk and your shield will break much faster. For the B tier, we have the Vulcan, which can be pretty nice to shoot multiple targets without shield, but that's very situational, so this weapon is not very good overall, but can be pretty nice to finish off a target. The flamethrowers are a pretty solid weapon with a scary potential, but since you have to be in a somewhat close range for it to be efficient, let's put it on B tier. And in the C tier, we have the Disruptor M11, and lastly the Drillshot FK7. These weapons are in last place because they are more appropriated to fight shielded targets. I put the drill shot in last place despite having decent damage, because it only has 2 bullets and you can use it for something more important like shielded targets, guys. Now against shielded enemies. These are divided into 2, the melee shielded and the ranged shielded. Although the ranged weapons I will mention work very well against melee targets, using a melee weapon on them will often be the better option. So for melee shielded, all melee weapons are S tier. As for ranged weapons, you have the Disruptor M11, as this weapon is insane to melt shields, guys. You have a Drill Shot FK7, as this weapon will not only bypass the shield, but also stagger the enemies. And a quick note here, guys, for this weapon, if you don't see the bullet penetrating the shield, it means the bullet did raw damage instantly. But those bullets don't stagger the target. Then you have the Missile Launcher, of course, as deals very high damage and also staggers the enemies. The Flamethrowers also bypass the shields, but since they put you at risk of receiving damage, let's put it in top of the A tier. We'll follow up with the Speed Dart, as this is a very good weapon overall, decent damage and applies poison, and the poison damage, guys, bypasses the shield, so you will eventually slowly kill the targets. Following up, we have the GRDA-44, as this weapon, even though the damage will be minimal because of the shield, the stagger will help you breathe, and while you are breathing you are recovering your cooldowns, so this means you will be able to use your hook and then use your melee weapons on the shielded targets, for example. Subnoses are an extremely solid weapon overall, which are also pretty good against shields, a very solid A tier weapon. And on the bottom of A tier list, we'll put snipers with high raw damage, because they are slower than subnoses. On the B tier, we have the Plasma Gun. I didn't rank this weapon higher because this weapon is risky to use, as it uses your own power to shoot, so your shield will break super fast during combat. And then we also put the Vulcan in here. One note here, guys, for Vulcans, even though they are not ranking very well, Vulcans can be a very strong weapon in the hands of a focused trooper, especially if it's not alone. And then on C tier against shields, we have the Karpov and the Mauler pistol, as these weapons will just tickle the shields. And finally, we put Last Gun on D tier, as it is completely useless against shields, as you can't even shoot the weapon. As for the ranged shielded NPCs, we have the snipers, which you can simply go close to them and melee them, or destroy them with Disruptor M11, FK7 drill shots, subnose, or speed dart shots, but we'll go directly to the freaking minigun and flamethrower tanks that annoys us. As usual for the S tier weapons, the missile launcher, as it has high AoE damage and also staggers them. The Disruptor M11 and FK7 drill shots are obviously S tier, as their shots penetrate shields. And then of course you have all the melee weapons, which using them together with your hook are a very strong combo to bypass the NPC shields, as the hook will stagger the NPCs, and then you simply do heavy attacks on them with your long or short blades. Although these are not as efficient against shields, on top of A tier we put the Subnose, extremely solid weapon, followed by the Speed Dart, because of the poison bypassing the shields, while also having some decent damage, followed by GRDA-44 shotgun, as you can use the shotgun to buy time as you are staggering them, so your abilities refresh cooldown, so you gain advantage on them again. And on last place of A tier, I'll place the snipers with high raw damage. Then on B tier, since it's risky to come close to them, we have the Flamethrower, as it can bypass the shield by burning them. Following the Flamethrower, we have the Plasma Gun, that even though you can do some damage to them, it's risky to use, as like I said before, it uses your power to shoot, so it means you will also die faster. But since it's a Vulcan variant, if you are in a group, this weapon can actually be super strong. And on last place of B tier, we place the Vulcan. And on C tier, since they are not very good against shields, we place the Karpov and the Mauler pistol. Last guns of course are D tier, like I said before, cannot use them against shields. And this is my list against the ranged tanks. Let me know if they annoy you like they annoy me. Now I'll give you an instant list, assuming you have all the uniques or at least some of them. This is the best of the best for PvE. We'll go into the best PvP weapons in a moment. For non-shielded targets, we have Dune Watcher or Regis Triple Shot Repeating Rifle. Regis Rakif Subnose. It's craftable and you don't need a unique for non-shielded NPCs. The Replica Pulse Sword. The unique version of the sword is better than the rapier and the knives, as the sword gives you a stamina boost and allows you to do AoE parries. Then you have the Alex Pick, the Cauterizer, Perforator, Shell Burster or Starburst, Black Market K28 Lasgun, and for the A tier we have Sith, Way of the Misr, and Saluzan Revenge. As for shielded targets, a Dart for Every Man, Regis Burst Drill Shot, Regis Disruptor Pistol, Replica Pulse Sword, Alex Pick, Cauterizer, Shell Burster / Starburst, as these ones apply burning damage which will bypass the shields. A quick note here guys, which is obvious but worth to mention, against vehicles the Ancient Way is the best option, the Black Market K28 Lasgun, and our very solid Regis Missile Launcher. As for base raiding, Black Market K28 Lasgun is the best of the best. As for PvP, the best weapons are pretty straightforward. Against shields, your best options are a Dart for Every Man and the Regis Disruptor Pistol for shield breaking. The Replica Pulse Sword, as is the strongest melee weapon damage in the game. It excels if you have the opportunity to bypass a player's shield while they are affected by a CC ability. Alex Pick, you do fast hits to apply pressure damage, as this weapon will apply poison on it. Cauterizer, you do fast hits to apply pressure damage, but this one applies burning, which also bypass the shields like the poison. And of course in S tier we also have the Ancient Way, for anti-air defense or to simply shoot missiles at people, especially groups. This weapon is amazing. On the number 1 place of the A tier, you have the Penetrator or the Regis Burst Drill Shot. Any of these weapons can be extremely dangerous if timed properly, as this is a very high pressure weapon. If you have a godly aim and can land all or most of these shots, as every time you hit a target with it, you'll force it to make a dodge, and doing so will make them spend a lot of stamina, and if they don't or can't dodge, they will get punished for it by receiving raw damage to their health bar, as these weapon bullets bypass the shields. Their difference is that the Penetrator has higher damage and also applies bleed, however it only has 2 bullets clip size, while the Regis Burst Drill Shot has 4 bullets clip size, but applies no bleed and deals less damage. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is worse, because having more shots means you have more opportunities and the weapon is more forgiving to land shots. And sometimes all it takes is to land 1 or 2 of these bullets to make a big difference in a fight. Following up, we have the shotguns Shell Burster and Starburst, which they don't only stagger the target, but also apply burning, which bypasses the shields. Following up, we have the Dune Watcher, as it's a combo of great damage, poison, and nice to finish targets, followed up by the Regis Triple Shot Repeating Rifle. It's basically the same as Dune Watcher, but with much less damage. And of course we can also include the Regis Missile Launcher as an A tier, since we put the Ancient Way on the S tier. When the player has no shield, you will want weapons that deal the highest raw damage possible, and for this you have the following. Black Market K28 Lasgun. These will simply evaporate players without shield, they will die before they know they died. Perforator, Shell Burster, or Starburst, as it's very hard to beat these weapons in DPS. All of them are S tiers, together with the Lasgun by the way. Dune Watcher is also an S tier weapon, which can also be used as an opener to catch players off guard who forget to activate their shields. By the way, a quick 2-second lesson here guys, always activate your shield even when you think you are alone. The Replica Pulse Sword, also an S tier, as mentioned before, highest DPS melee weapon in the game. Alex, Pick and Cauterizer will also do a great job here, since they are not only fast attackers but also apply pressure damage, which can also be said as damage over times, poison and burning. The Regis Disruptor Pistol is also an S tier as it has a very high ground damage against shields and non-shield targets. Of course we have the Regis Triple Shot Repeating Rifle, very good weapon all around. The Ancient Way or Regis Missile Launcher are also S tier, of course. As for the A tiers, guys, we have the following. Saluzan's Revenge. The Sith, it's a Disruptor Pistol with very high damage. Didn't rank it up either because the accuracy is not very good. However, this weapon has extra damage bonus against headshots, so pretty nice. The 5-finger Triple Shot Rifle is also a weapon that cannot be underestimated, A tier. We also have Tafir's Best. I think he's a very solid A tier weapon against non-shields. And on last place against non-shielded targets, let's put Regis Rafik Subnose, which is a craftable weapon that you don't need blueprints. Sorry if I missed your favorite weapons or something, and if a weapon is not on this list, it doesn't mean it's not good, as there is always situations, solos or groups, where some weapons shine more than others. For example, a Vulcan might not be good one-on-one, but in a group fight, if they are distracted and you are free to shoot, together with trooper abilities, it's another story. Let me know in the comments if you think these were fair tier lists, or if you simply disagree with everything. It's perfectly fine to disagree and to share your opinions, guys, because that's how we learn in the end. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hox is out.